Good evening and welcome to our Town Council workshop to set our agenda for our June meeting. Before we move into our items for discussion, I am going to ask Jerry Short to do our prayer. And Chief Bill, will you do our pledge, please?
Lord, thank you for those that protect those freedoms on a daily basis, Lord. Father, as we just observed Memorial Day, Father, we don't want to forget those that did pay the ultimate sacrifice, and we're so thankful for their willingness to serve, Lord. And Father, we just pray for our police officers, our fire, and those that run our city, Lord. We just ask that you be with them. Lord, just give us wisdom tonight as we go through these things. And Father, for those that have lost loved ones here recently, Father, we just ask that you comfort them, Lord. Go with us now, and I just pray this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Face the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will move into our items for discussion tonight. Our first one is consideration of an ordinance relative to the amendment of the text of the Smyrna Municipal Zoning Ordinance to add Article 5, Section 5.059, Eden Springs Gateway Overlay District. This is a second reading. Kevin,
Yes.
I was looking for you, sorry.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is of course, is the second reading for this text amendment to the ordinance. This has been discussed several times. There are no changes from what you looked at on first reading, but this would establish the Gateway District basically from Old National Highway to I-24 along the new Eden Springs corridor.
We've had quite a bit of discussion about this. Are there any other questions or?
Couple
Sure.
of questions.
Go
But
ahead.
I'm looking, do we not have a picture of it for the screen there?
I do not know.
Okay. My question regards the part that the overlay is going to affect. And in looking at the picture, there is a portion, I guess it is going toward the southern part of it. And it looks like that it looks like it's not developed yet, but it's all part of the overlay, and I was wondering why was it so far down? Yes, this part here.
Oh, yes.
Are you talking, when you say that, is this kind of the area south of Gamble Lane? Is that the area you're talking about?
Down here by General Barksdale Drive. That's
Okay, yeah, there's one large tract there, and basically we did include the entirety of that tract.
Okay.
That's why,
Okay.
that's
why it was
it's-
included, because it was just one large tract.
Right.
Okay. Okay. And then the other question I have, and you actually touched on it at the Planning Commission meeting this past month, or earlier this month, where you were saying that there would be some consideration for going to the west side of Rocky Fork once, if anything is done with that, but we wouldn't actually approve anything related to that side until that side was annexed. Is
right,
that
yeah,
correct?
that area is not in the city currently, but if and when we receive annexation requests, we would
Look at it.
anticipate that this could be extended further westward, yes.
Okay.
That's part of that annexation. When we zone it, or whatever it's requested for zoning, when we annex it, we would look at adding that
Okay.
overlay as well there.
Okay. Those are my questions.
Okay, we'll move on to item 2, which is consideration of an ordinance adopting the budget for the fiscal year 2019-2020, and this is a second reading. Rex?
Mayor, Council, the ordinance and detailed budget for the fiscal year 1920 are submitted for your consideration. I have attached the changes from first read to the second read spreadsheet for your convenience. It details the budget changes from what was presented at the first reading, and there's just two. The first is $1,073, and that's to adjust the Smyrna Library capital contribution up to $7,500. and $150,000 for some improvements to Volunteer Park.
Questions for Rex on this?
What are we going to be doing on Volunteer Park?
Pardon me?
What are we doing at Volunteer Park?
That was the email that Brian sent out.
This week that outlined some of that.
Okay, I must have missed it. I apologize.
That's okay.
Essentially, just to boil it down, is the 3 fields are gonna be extended to 300 feet to accommodate adults, so that they can move the poles and the scoreboards.
Yeah.
And they're gonna kind of reroute some parking to account for it, but essentially, that's all that's happening.
Moving the fences,
Okay.
the
Yeah,
lighting and that kind of
There's
stuff.
not
moving it
really,
back.
we're not putting up LED lighting, we're not spending anything extra. We're doing basically the bare minimum we
Minimum that we
need
need.
for adults to move down there.
Yes.
Okay, okay. And so the adults are gonna move there when Cedarstone, the baseball is going to Cedarstone, correct?
That's correct.
And then what's going at Todd Lane?
Girls fast pitch.
Girls
No,
Fast.
But
Todd
not-
Lane
No,
baseball.
not-
Todd Lane will still be baseball.
Yep.
Not all of baseball,
Not all
because we
of
don't have
baseball.
enough fields.
Yeah.
Okay,
Again,
I'm sorry.
if you, we'll get together, but in that email I sent, it
Okay.
outlines all of the movements and which
Okay.
parks are associated.
Yeah.
all right.
Okay. Item 3 is consideration of an ordinance adopting the property tax rate for the fiscal year 2019-2020, and this is a second reading. Rex, tell us the most important part of that.
There's no increase this year.
There you go.
We want to keep the rate the same as it was in the prior year, and that's 70.07 cents on each $100 of assessed taxable property.
And I can't even remember, I've looked at that spreadsheet before. I don't remember the last time it was 70 cents. I want to say in the 50s it was 75. Is that right? I know
You
I'm
kinda
kind of
put me
putting you on the spot,
on the spot
but
here.
How old are
it's,
you, Rick? Go back to the 50s.
well, I've just, when we did that spreadsheet, I'm
Yes.
almost positive that that's what it showed.
I think that we've been up in the 90s at one point.
It
Right.
was 79 through most of the 90s, and then it went from there in 98, 99, somewhere like that. Does that sound right?
That sounds familiar with the last time that I looked at it, which has been a while.
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can't pull up the state of the town that we did, because it shows that, and it's always amazing to look at what our tax rate has been and how that, it's really gone down rather than up. So
We've been very fortunate.
we have been. Okay, item 4 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Dreamscapes relative to the building safety department mowing.
Good evening.
Hey.
Yes, the current provider of our codes mowing, their contract expires at the end of June, and so we have, we put out for bid 2 others that could come and propose bids. They were received. Dreamscapes was definitely the best provider, and so we just ask that you allow us to use Dreamscapes to do our codes mowing as is necessary.
Questions for
That other,
Steve?
I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
that other one's on the misprint, is that correct?
It is not a misprint.
Wow.
Anything else? Okay, item 5, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a performance agreement with Carpe Artista relative to music and sound for the 2019 Independence Day celebration. Mike?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you well know, Independence Day is, our celebration's a little over a month out, so we want to get a performance agreement in front of you tonight and for discussion. And we have been working with Carpe Artista to provide music and sound for this year. They have a band called Reminiscing that will play from 5 to 9, and they'll allow us to do music and announcements from the stage as well. So we were just asked to get approval on this for $1,500 this year.
Questions for Mike on this? Okay, we will move on to item 6, which is approval of the terms of, approval of naming of the baseball fields at Cedarstone Community Park as follows: Frankie Crosland Jr. Field, Kenneth Coon Victory Field, Jenny Olerud Williams Field, and H.G. Cole Field. Mike?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we're pleased to bring this to you. This came through our Parks Board last February, or actually February of 2018, I believe. Put the minutes in the packet as well, but I believe Mr. Dennis Johnson brought that before the Park Board and felt that these folks were worthy of getting fields named after them. They were all Parks Board commissioners back in that former government, and I would agree with them. We've had some people on this on our Parks Board for a while, HG being one of them, but all these people have contributed some way, not only the park system, but also the community. So we just asked that you guys name the fields after these 4 individuals.
Questions for Mike on this?
Not a question, just a comment. I agree, and I think they're all very well deserving of having this happen. I know when we were out at the Greenway a week or so ago, cutting the ribbon for that extension, Tom Sage was there, who had a lot of impact on our parks, and one of the things he said is, to me, that you and a lot of people are doing a lot of great things with Smyrna as far as keeping the recreation and the wellness and the greenways and things like that a priority. Please keep doing so. So kudos to HG and the others that were mentioned here for their past and what they've done to help build this park system the way it is today.
Agreed. Item 7 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with IM&E relative to the mechanical electrical maintenance for the water plant, wastewater treatment plant, and distribution collection systems for 2019-2020. Mike?
Yes, ma'am. This is our annual maintenance agreement for mechanical and electrical for both the water plant and wastewater plant. IM&E was the low bidder.
Questions for Mike on this? Okay. Item 8 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a change order relative to the water line upgrade extending from the Enid Springs Road project. Mike?
Yes, within the water model, when we ran the water model, there's several projects that need to be done to increase the fire flow around the town. So part of the one of the water model upgrades is happening with the road project. So this is kind of a little kickoff from the road project, and we talked to the contractor, and they were willing to do it and keep the same cost per foot pricing. It's about 1,000 foot of 12 inch, and it'll go down Country Village to make that time. We'll be able to complete one complete job on the water model.
Questions for Mike?
When you say water model, is that so that you can reroute water if you have a problem, or what does that exactly mean?
Well, what it does is tell you how much flow you need. Like if a business comes in or something like that, it can tell you based on your line sizes, your friction, all the engineering calculations, how much flow you're going to need to serve that. It also is used to calculate fire flow. Like if you're needing 1,000 gallons a minute for residential, it'll tell you, is this line big enough? What do you need to go to? How far do you have to run it? Multiple things you can do with the water model.
Anything else? Okay, we will move on to item 9, approval and authorization for the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with Motlow State Community College and the Smyrna Fire Department relative to the emergency medical responder refresher training. Chief?
Mayor, council, I left my glasses. We bring before you this evening a contract. Motlow is going to start teaching first responder classes, and they require this memo of understanding to be signed, and we ask that y'all give the mayor permission to sign it.
Questions for Chief? Okay, then we will move on to item 10, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with G&W Diesel Services Incorporated, EVS Emergency Vehicle Specialist relative to fire gloves and fire hoods for the Smyrna Fire Department.
Mayor, council, again, we got 3 annual contracts that we're bringing to you this evening, and as you said, the first one is for the fire gloves and fire hoods. We did bid this. We took the lowest bid on all 3 of them, and we asked that the council give the mayor permission to sign.
Questions for Chief? Item 11, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Safe Industries relative to the turnout gear, fire helmets, and turnout suspenders for the Smyrna Fire Department.
Again, annual contract with Safe Industries. We took the lowest bidders, and we asked the mayor to have permission to sign the contract.
Questions? Item 12 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with North Alabama Fire Equipment Company relative to the turnout gear, bunker boots, turnout coats, and turnout pants for Smyrna Fire Department. Chief?
And I hope this is the third and final annual contract, but it is with North Alabama. And we took the lowest bidder, and we asked the council to give the mayor permission to sign the contract, please.
Questions for Chief on this one? And we will move on to item 13, which is approval of the term. Oh, you're welcome. Approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with Sweeping Corporations of America relative to the street sweeping.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh.
I'm hiding back here.
Oh, you're in the
Sorry.
back.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got here late. Street sweeping, Sweeping Corporation of America provides street sweeping on all of our state roads as well as a lot of our collector roads. And this is our first extension to the original contract dated June 13th, 2017 with them.
Okay. Questions for Tom on the back row?
Is the extension going to be for, how long is the extension for?
I believe this is a 1-year extension. Yeah, it's a 1 year.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to item 14, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with Marking Impressions doing business as Pope Striping relative to the street striping.
Thank you, Mayor Council. Yes, Pope, we selected Pope a couple of years ago, I guess August 2016, to provide painting as well as thermoplastic striping on various roads throughout town. This is our second 2-year extension with them.
Questions for Tom on the striping? Okay, item 15, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with Jones Brothers Contractors LLC relative to the asphalt paving.
Jones Brothers provides milling and resurfacing on various streets throughout town. As Public Works Superintendent and I evaluate different streets for milling and resurfacing. Jones Brothers goes out there and takes care of that work for us. This is the first extension onto the original contract dated July 2018, and it's a 1-year extension.
Questions for Tom? Item 16 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with Rollins Excavation Company LLC relative to the stormwater general construction and concrete work. Tom?
Yes, Rollins was selected back in August 2017 to provide stormwater services for us. They go out and install new culverts, they dig out ditches, that sort of thing. And this will be our second extension with them.
Okay. Item 17 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with Rollins Excavating Company LLC relative to the annual concrete.
In June 2017 was our original contract date with Rollins. What they do under this concrete contract is anything related to curbing, sidewalks, any concrete paving. They provide that service for us. This is the second extension onto the contract, and it is for a 1-year period.
Okay. Questions for Tom on this? Item 18 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Wiser Consultants LLC for construction engineering inspection services for the Sam Ridley Parkway widening project.
Yes, since this is a project funded by FHWA and TDOT as well as local money, TDOT requires a CEI, construction engineering inspection company, to be hired by the town to oversee the project. They'll have a person out there every time someone is physically working on the project. Since this is going to be an extremely long project, they're projecting out just under $1 million for CEI services on it.
Questions for Tom on this one? Okay, then we will move on to item 19, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with the Tennessee Department of Transportation relative to TDOT right-of-way maintenance.
Yes, this is our annual maintenance contract we have with TDOT. What do we do? Under this contract, they pay us back, they reimburse us for mowing, trash pickup, any salting and plowing we have to do during the winter time, as well as pothole repairs on various areas on state roads that have damage, as well as striping and restriping.
Okay, any questions on that one? Move on to item 20, Chief. Approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Gulls Incorporated relative to the police department uniforms.
Yes, ma'am. If you noticed on there, Gauls did come in just a tad bit higher than the others, but we would like to stay with Gauls for a couple of reasons. Number one being their proven serviceability. Number two is the officers usually are able to get their uniforms within 7 days from Gauls. Gauls has a large selection. You're not limited by, some officers like shoes, some officers like boots, etc. But even mostly, well, not the most important thing, but the officer complaints went down to practically nothing since we've been using Gauls, and we've been using them for, I think, between 8 to 10 years now. And the last thing is this is not an increase in the budget. It's the same amount that we're spending in the current budget that we'll be spending in the next budget.
Questions for Chief on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 21, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding between Rutherford County Schools and the Smyrna Police Department relative to the SWAT team use of school properties for training. Chief?
Yes, ma'am. This is a memorandum of understanding which will allow our SWAT team to do some training in some of the area schools. And if you'll notice in the MOU, there are some clauses in there about who gets contacted and how they get contacted and things of that nature. And please understand, under no circumstances will we ever do training where there are kids in the school.
Great. Questions for Chief on this? Item 22 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Unipress relative to the shared clinic services with the Care Here Health Center. Jeff?
Sure. Mayor, Council, about a year ago, Care Here approached me about a client of theirs that wanted to discuss possibly sharing our clinic space with us. The company is Unipress. They work very closely with Nissan. They have about 200 employees in the Smyrna area. And it's an opportunity for us to expand our clinic hours, much like we did when we added Laverne as a shared person for our clinics. So we'll be open pretty much every day, full days. We'll have the ability, if we need to add another provider, we can. But I think we've got enough capacity right now to be able to bring them on board. It'll open up the clinic where our folks can get in easier and more often, and it will offset some of our expenses as well. So it's sort of a win-win for us. The contract or the agreement mirrors very closely our agreement with Laverne. Same rates, same things are covered. So I think it's just a good opportunity for us to continue to grow that program.
Is it something that after a year we can go back and look to make sure our employees are getting in when they want to get in?
Sure.
I mean, I just want to make sure that, don't get me wrong, I like sharing the money, the expense, but my number one priority is for our employees.
Definitely.
And making sure they're taken care of.
Definitely.
So.
Well, and I monitor that on a regular basis, what our
Okay.
utilization is. The last few months, it's been running about 85%, which means it's not totally full, but it's very
Right.
busy. And so that's kind of a sweet spot for us, that we're getting our money's worth and that our providers aren't sitting there with empty appointments. So
Okay.
we'll be monitoring that for sure.
Okay, perfect. Anything else for Jeff on this? Item 23 is consideration of a resolution to amend and restate the Town of Smyrna classification and compensation plan.
Sure, just sort of our customary process is bringing the class and compensation plan, which basically sets the salaries for our positions. We're bringing that each budget year for your approval, and you've got that to review and for your approval tonight.
Questions for Jeff on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 24, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Red Wing Shoes relative to the safety footwear.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This is relative to the safety shoes for employees, and we are going with Red Wing. We've been with Red Wing, but we're going back to them. They have a store here in Smyrna, which makes it convenient for the employees, and we're just looking for approval.
Questions for Kay on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 25, which is consideration of submission of the public debt notice to the Comptroller of the Treasury. Rex?
Yes, ma'am. This is, the comptroller requires public debt incurred by the town to be announced at a public meeting. This requires no council action, just the mayor's signature. I've attached the form that we'll be filing with the Office of State and Local Finance, and it's related to the $3 million Clean Water State Revolving Fund Loan.
Questions for Rex on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 26, which is appointment of one member to the Smyrna Housing Authority Board to serve an unexpired term ending in 2022. With the passing of Dan Whittle, we will need to fill his position. And so if there's someone interested in serving on the Housing Authority Board, you can go online to submit application, and we'll be making that determination at our next meeting. Anything under other? Nope. Good. Okay, well then we will move on to our department reports. Ms. Kate, anything for you tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
I just want to recognize the employees and also the directors. We are down 50% compared to our injury claims compared to last year at the same time frame. So I just want to thank them and the employees for working safe and continuing to work safe.
Great. Great news. Jeff?
All right, we are wrapping up our seasonal hiring season. Sheppy is going to be ready for a vacation when this is all said and done. She's been very busy getting our seasonal hires on board. We're down to our last handful of folks, so we're excited about that. I'm sure Mike's excited to get them on board as well. We are currently working on getting our merit pay letters drafted for employees that will be going out once you guys approve the budget in June, so we'll have that ready to go. I will be sending out the town manager evaluation probably next week for everybody to take a look at and fill that out, and then I'm assuming the next couple of weeks, before the next meeting, we'll try to meet with him to go over his evaluation.
Are you all good with meeting 30 minutes prior to our next workshop? Would that work for everybody?
You good with me?
Good, okay.
Okay.
Is that enough time? Probably not.
And then finally, a bit of really good news. We had our United Way Golf Scramble, I think 2 Fridays ago. And last year we raised $32,000. This year we raised $40,600 for our local United Way. So it was a very successful event. Excited how that turned out. So it's
How'd your
good
team
news.
do, Maris?
We won.
You didn't either.
That's right. What?
We were the winners because you weren't there.
Oh. Oh.
Had we been. we came in
Oh,
third.
that's just a minor thing, you know.
We felt sorry for your team
That's
year
right.
after year. We thought, you know,
We'll
the best
give
thing
them
to
an
do is
opportunity
forfeit.
this year. Yeah.
Let them have a little.
That's right.
Okay, just curious.
Sorry.
That's good.
Right.
I will tell you that Brian and I got an email from Megan Flippin thanking us for all that the town is doing. I mean, we have a good time with all the events that we do to raise money for United Way, but I think the thing we have to remember is all of the people right here in our own community that we're helping. And it's great to see our employees step up, no matter what event or whether it's through their paycheck that is taken care of. Community member helping community members. So thanks and job well done, you guys. Steve.
Really nothing unusual to report other than what you might expect. We're quite busy with building plans and inspections and permits. I will give you just a brief update on maybe what you can't help but have noticed there on North Lowry. There's a building there on North Lowry. We are in the process of instituting a slum clearance proceeding on that property. That process does not go quickly, but the process has started, and we hope to be able to improve that location certainly within the next couple of months.
Just because we don't deal with that very often, I mean, I can't remember one that we've had in quite a while. Have we?
We have not had a candidate for this in quite some time. You're right. There for a while we had several, and we kind of got things caught up, and And then this one is just kind of.
So what is that process? What's the next step?
Well, so the first step, of course, is the property owner is notified that there's a problem, and they are asked to come and have a hearing with me and explain their situation. At the conclusion of that hearing, I go to the site and make a decision on if it is economically viable for them to repair that site. We have to require that they bring it up to a minimum property standards. And the way the ordinance is written, if they cannot do so for less than 50% of the appraised value, then the only choice is to demolish it. And so that hearing was done just recently, and that finding, in fact, has gone out to the property owner. And so, like I said, these wheels turn rather slowly, but they do turn.
Great.
Yeah.
Questions for Steve on this? I hate to see it come to that, but
Yeah.
I do think it will be an improvement to that piece of property.
Yeah, it was
Pretty bad.
It's a troubled building.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Anything for us for Steve? Thanks. Mike?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. As y'all can imagine, this time of year, we've got a lot going on, so I'll just go through that fairly quick. I'll let you speak to the Top Gun night run, but I will tell people they can pick up their packets if they want to come tomorrow. The office are welcome to do that. Or tomorrow night, if you're on site, you can start that at 7 p.m. So we're excited about that. And we'll be continuing to clean up around the memorial up there tomorrow and set up and that type of thing. Also, I'm sure everybody knows, but the splash pad up at Gregor Mills has been down. We had an electrical issue over the weekend and still waiting on one of the parts. We got 3 out of the 4 parts, and I think the one we're waiting on is from out of the country. So we're trying to hunt that down as well. So as soon as those get in, we will place those in there and hopefully troubleshoot that splash pad. I know it's very popular this time of year. Nolan Drive, I guess you've seen the work going on there, so I won't dive deep into that. They're clearing trees, and we've asked them to hold off tomorrow just because of the dust and that type of thing. So if you're wondering why they're not there doing a whole lot of work tomorrow, that'll be the case. But they do hope to get everything chipped and cleaned up, mulched middle of next week or latter part of next week. Cedarstone Park, we're moving out there. They've got a lot of work on the concession stand. They poured some concrete the last couple of days. We're starting to see at least part of the field lights go in for the light poles. So you're starting to see some things come out of the ground finally, which is a good thing. We have kind of run into a water issue with some rock that keeps kind of seeping back up to the field. So we're going to be dealing with that, and I'll be talking to Brian about that just for some options on making sure we get those fields built right. But they are moving and doing a good job out there. Just over the weekend, just so you know, I know y'all know Simply Smyrna's tomorrow night. We also have a baseball tournament in town, taking all 3 baseball complexes. So our staff will be dividing and conquering. So if you see us, some of us at one and not at the other, you'll know why. So big weekend for us.
Simply Smyrna tomorrow or Saturday?
Well, Saturday night.
Saturday,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
You
it's
were
not
just
tomorrow.
you were wishing Friday away, right? Was that it?
I've been a day ahead or behind all week. I just know where I'm going to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
So one of the things we've probably all either gotten messages about or seen it on Facebook is the trees being cut down for the Nolan Drive project. And to let people know, we leased that property from the airport authority, and since that was in their direct flight path of the main runway, they asked that more of those trees be cut down than we were initially going to cut down because of the flight path. I think Mike and his staff have plans, once we get that all cleared and done, to go back and replant some trees in that area. But I just wanted to let people know what actually is taking place. I know there's been a lot of speculation and rumors out there as to what happened in regards to the trees, but I just wanted to set the record straight.
Thank you for that. I think when we presented the plan to the the airport board that, you know, they saw an opportunity as well. They have to go over there every year and take down trees that might be higher than what the FAA allows. So when we were going to do this project, it kind of worked out really a win-win for them to get those trees down along with that. But we will be going back with some trees along the street, and being up there the last couple of days, probably in the area, you know, I think we'll have to do some low-lying trees, which will help with sound and that type of thing too, and to give it a better feel. So.
Well, and I think some have questioned, why are you doing Nolan Drive? What's the need of doing Nolan Drive? But number one, you look at the amount of traffic that's on that road, straightening the road. But then the second thing is, it's going to give us an opportunity to do a second entrance and exit to the park eventually, which if anybody's in and out of Lee Victory Park on a regular basis or even periodically, you know how difficult it is to get in and out and how dangerous it is, and especially when we have large events going on. So I think that back entrance, especially once we get the special needs playground complete and done, I think it will be a huge addition to Lee Victory Park. So just give us a chance. I know sometimes that you question some of the decisions that we make, but I think in the long run you'll see that this is a good plan.
You know, in planning, everything we do requires us really to look at having two ways of ingress and egress into every new development or anything that we do. That park holds thousands of people at some of our big events. Chief Culberson knows this well, and Chief Arnold does too, that we have one way in and out of there. If that gets blocked in any kind of way at all, we've got no other ingress or egress for safety measures. So I know that Chief Bill will concur, strongly need another way in and out of that park. Thousands of people use that thing on a daily basis.
Okay. Other questions or comments for Mike? Thanks.
Thank you.
Rex?
Yes, ma'am. April local sales tax, I mistakenly wrote down the total year-to-date cumulative amount instead of what we received for the month. So collected year-to-date is $11,722,413, which that gives us a year-to-date budget surplus of $222,413. April state share tax, the monthly amount that we collected was $542,209, and that gives us a year-to-date surplus of $30,841. We've been working on the $19 million bond issue. We got news today that Moody's Investor Services maintained our rating at AA1 for this issue, and we're waiting to hear from S&P with their rating.
Questions for Rex? Is it going to be AAA?
I told you, didn't I?
We know that's a stretch.
That's right. So
I think Brian wants me to go into a little bit of in-depth presentation, 5 to 10 minutes maybe.
Get an upcoming meeting.
So what he's saying is he wants us off his, or he wants me off his back about AAA is what you're saying. So he's using you to do that?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
want
Gotcha.
to explain the process and how it works, Mayor, so everybody has a clear understanding.
Hey, I'm gonna
Gotcha.
say, it's been explained, but she's still gonna ask.
So I found the slide that I was looking for. In 2014, property tax rate was 88 cents here in Smyrna. 2011, 76 cents. 2007, 86 cents. 2001, 83 cents. 2000, 72 cents. And in 1950, it was 75 cents. And come July 1, it's going to be 70 cents. So I think you're getting a pretty good deal to live in the town of Smyrna with all of the services that we're able to provide. So, and I think if you look at other municipalities that are here in Rutherford County, other than Eagleville, the town of Smyrna is the lowest property tax rate here in the county. So that is a testament to each one of you and to our employees and to Brian and your staff for what you do to make sure that we are fiscally responsible for our taxpayers' money and watching over that money. So thank you for what you do. I think when you look at that timeline, it's hard to believe in 1950 it was 75 cents and now it's 70 cents coming up. So, job well done. Kevin?
Yes, we do have planning commission next week, and we've got multiple annexation and rezoning requests that are going to be coming to you all. I also have a couple of site plans for some additions out at Nissan, about 32,000 square feet total, so that's good to see. And as I think everyone here knows, but just for the public's benefit, I participate and sit on the technical coordinating committee for the NPO, National NPO, and we meet next week. And there's 3 projects on the agenda for next week that are TDOT projects that are significant investments into Smyrna and Rutherford County we saw them in the governor's budget. Now they're moving through, since they have federal dollars in them, they do have to go to the NPOs. My committee, as well as the board that she chairs for the mayor board, the policy board. And those are the Jefferson Pike project, the additional monies for the I-24 Smart Corridor project, and then some additional money for, well, I had it wrote down, I think I got it wrong. Oh, the exit ramps. There are about 5 different exit ramps in Rutherford County, including San Bernardino and Allenville Road. So over $100 million total. So that's pretty significant. So.
And thanks for the work you do on that committee. Y'all do all the heavy lifting, and we just actually do the voting on it on my board. So, but I appreciate all the work you put in. I will tell you, I think that because we have a presence on those boards, it definitely helps the town of Smyrna, and it also gives us regional perspective as to what's going on across our region. So thanks for all you do on that board. Questions for Kevin? Mike?
Yes, ma'am. June 6th, 2 p.m. That is the bid opening for the wastewater treatment plant expansion. So we're looking forward to that and seeing kind of where everything falls out. Of course, there'll be some evaluation of the bids, but we'll get a pretty good idea from the bid opening, kind of where we're going to fall and where it's going to stand. So that's the biggest thing we got on the horizon. So looking forward to getting that.
For the NFL draft to start.
That's right.
Right. Waiting to see the numbers and who you get. Right?
Got a clock down, a countdown time.
Yeah.
This is going to be like paying somebody that goes to the NFL draft.
That's exactly right. And we've got a pretty important meeting coming up with State Revolving Fund.
Yes, ma'am.
Next week.
The 4th.
The 4th, yes.
The 4th, yes, ma'am.
So to go back and talk about our Jefferson Pike project. So we're looking forward to that, and there is a new person in charge there at SRF, and she seems to be doing a great job. So we're looking forward to meeting with her. Questions for Mike? Hal, the birthday boy. How old were you yesterday?
You remembered.
How old were you?
64.
64, young guy.
Yeah, my body doesn't feel like it. Monday the 3rd starts our annual First Tee program. This is our 19th year of having this First Tee program. Best I can guess, we've run between 2,500 and 3,000 young men and ladies through that program since we started it. It's our premier program. It runs for 8 weeks. Juniors 7 to 17. We have 5 different sessions that they do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Starts at 9 o'clock. Have a session 9 o'clock to 10:30, and then one 11 to 12:30. You can still sign up at firstteetennessee.org, or you can call the golf shop and sign up, or come by, or just bring your kids out Monday morning to start the program. But we're excited about it, and we're looking forward to it starting up.
Great. I had somebody ask me, what about somebody who can't afford clubs or things like that? Is there anything where we help provide that?
To an extent, I have a storage room full that people come by and donate. A lot of times they're adult clubs, and we can cut them down. But I might have maybe 6 sets. I'll tell you what I do have. If their child is left-handed, I got about 5 sets of brand new left-handed clubs that were given to us by the First Tee several years ago, and most all the kids are right-handed. But yeah, tell them to come see me, and I can, we do a lot of, the kids going to start, we give them a putter and a 7-iron.
Right.
Might even cut it down for them.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
Mayor might take one of those left-handed sets, because I don't think it matters.
Oh, man.
That's because I'm so good at playing, I can play
You play
either
either
way.
ambidextrous.
Either way.
Yeah, she's that
Yeah,
good.
I'm that good. That's why Steve's team's always scared of us. Questions for Hal?
Trash talking.
Even when they don't even compete.
Prepping for next year.
That's right.
They couldn't even get a team together and they're still talking.
We were gone doing real things.
That's right. Chief?
I just have to add, that's an excellent program. One of my sons went through it, and Mr. Laughlin and his coaches do an outstanding job
I would
with
agree.
them. I have 6 new people that are on shift. They've been with us training for about they did about 240 hours of in-house training. They're on shift. They'll be going to the academy in August, so we're happy to have them on shift and going. Also, we've been working with Chief Harris and the Airport Authority, getting ready for the Tennessee Air Show.
Great. Questions for Chief? No. Tom?
Thank you. Mayor Council, just a little update on the road project. Stonecrest Sam Ridley is open. The contractor's been out there to do a lot of the cleanup. He does lack. We do have to come back and install the mast arms. That's probably going to be delivered around August, September of this year, installed and completed around October of this year. The Potomac Place Extension Project, they're planning on putting up traffic signals next week and putting bags on those at the Potomac Place in preparation to be able to move the light from Cheney down to Potomac Place. Also, they completed the turn lanes at Potomac. Those are blocked, barricaded up as well until everything kind of opens all at once. Weekly Swan intersection project, they've been installing stormwater piping and moving some utilities around in preparation to finish out the grading and getting ready to do some paving work out there. Also, just to let you know, I talked to all the contractors who are doing work along Sam Ridley, let them know about the air show coming up. I know with the contractors at Weekly Swan, they are going to take a break for a little bit during the air show, completely walk away, they're going to stabilize everything, clean it all up, step away until the air show is complete, then come back and start working on that project again. Lastly, just want to mention the Enos Springs West Extension project. A little bit about the summer schedule on it. We were kind of holding back a little bit until school was out. Now the school's out of session. Our utility contractors coming back on site, and over the next probably 4 or 5 weeks, they're going to be making various cuts along Wildwood, along Gamble Lane, and several cuts across Rocky Fork. If you plan on traveling that section of Rocky Fork, just be prepared for significant delays. Also, just there are some days, and we'll notify everybody ahead of time as much as possible, give at least like a week's notice on some of these times where we're going to be completely shutting down the section of Rocky Fork Road to be able to expedite this project as quickly as possible in preparation for the school season starting up. It won't be completely ready to go and open by then, but we're working diligently to get as much done as we possibly can this summer. So if you do normally travel Rocky Fork Road, I'd highly suggest finding different routes over the course of this summer, and otherwise you may be caught in some significant delays or rerouting.
Questions for Tom? Thanks, Tom. Miss Diane?
As of today, we've issued 45 new business licenses and already starting to get some calls on the wastewater treatment plant. So we'll be monitoring that to make sure we get all our subcontractors licensed. That money will come to the town.
Great. Question for Miss Diane?
Oh, actually, I do. Somebody asked me about a Bath and Body or Bed Bath and Beyond or something that's new.
Bath and Body, it is open.
Okay, it is open.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And we've issued a license for the new Shogun. So hopefully, I think it's
Okay.
opening next week.
Good. Had a lot of questions about that too.
Right.
But the building looks really nice.
does.
It's nice to see that the boards down and all that. So I would agree. Yeah, no offense. Brian?
Yes, Mayor and Council, I have just a couple of things. noticed a Facebook post by Miss Carol Phillips recently. I don't know if you saw this, but one of our Smyrna police officers, Laura Enright, Miss Enright had been working with them. Their son, Jax, who has autism, has been known to be a runner. And Miss Enright helped the family a couple of times when that has happened. And most recent time, on her own time and own dime, I will say, an expense, she provided the family with what is called a weighted blanket for Jax. And that's, in their world, that's a very comforting thing for these children, and it helps them feel a little safer. And just wanted to give a shout out to Miss Enright for the wonderful job she does for us, town of Smyrna, as a police officer, and then to go above and beyond. It's just kind of nice to see. So just a shout out there. Also, the American Public Gas Association, which is an organization that recognizes and we work with through our gas utility. They've just recently had their 2019 SOAR recipients, and SOAR stands for System Operational Achievement Recognition. And the town of Smyrna, again, was recognized at a silver level, which is a great achievement for our team and Mike and his staff and the work they do. So I just wanted to recognize them. Also, just wanted to brag on my friend Jeff Peach. He's been gone for a couple of days around the office. It's been kind of quiet, kind of nice actually, but no, I'm teasing. But no pacing back and forth. But Jeff, as you know, was recognized to serve on the TASER board. He's been representing the town of Smyrna and doing some work on behalf of the state and the TASER board. We do appreciate what he's doing. The last thing I have is this Monday was a very special day, Memorial Day, as we all know, and I just want to say how much I appreciate the VFW partnering with us, 8422, also our council and the mayor for being out there. And I got a lot of nice comments about the turnout, and then also our state representative Rudd and Sparks for being here. I think it was time well spent. It's great for us to pay tribute to those families and those soldiers that paid that ultimate price for our freedom. And I know we have a lot of soldiers and family members that are serving. We have people here at Mr. Sullivan who served, and it's always nice to appreciate those folks. But these families give that little bit extra. They made that ultimate sacrifice. So, and I just want to compliment everybody on the day and how much I appreciate. And as I made comment, it's pretty special for me. 2009, I had a nephew that paid that price for our freedom, and it should always strike home for us, but sometimes when it gets close, it really begins to mean something. So it's a special day, and I appreciate everybody coming out.
Thanks, Brian. Jeff?
Yes, worked with Chief Arnold and the program that I advised council about during the retreat with the police department. We're going to start that on June 13th with the first one, so I'm excited about that. Also, as Brian just mentioned, I had the last 2 days with TASER, and a lot of issues that are relative to what we deal with, specifically with the source internet sales. Currently studying those issues, as well as cable franchises, and also use of the right-of-ways by not cell companies, but by landline. So anyway, it's been very interesting and a really good group of people, so I've enjoyed it.
Anything for Jeff? Raquel?
Yes, actually, the Smyrna Arts Commission is sponsoring the art crawl that will be coming up on June the 8th, and that is a Saturday. And it will be from 6 to 9, and it's on Front Street at the Smyrna Assembly, the Depot, and 101 Carpe Artista building. And it actually is still open for submissions, and it will continue on until tonight, actually, at 12 midnight. And we have 4 categories. There is an elementary category for 9 to 11-year-olds, a middle school category for 11 to 13-year-olds. I'm sorry, 12 and 13-year-olds, and then high school is 14 to 18. And then we also have an adult category, and all of the winners are chosen by the citizens. So,
great. HC?
I want to pass along condolences to the J.W. Gossett family, to Lytle Hodge family, and today I heard that Cecil Lee had passed along too. they say those things comes in three. Hopefully that's all for now, you know. Or maybe that's an old wives' tale. But on a lighter note, I'm not going to steal any thunder on the Top Gun thing, but you know, you look at what's coming up over the course of the next month or two in Smyrna, and there's so many great things happening, neat things to do with the family, and just kind of really drives home the point of how great a place that Smyrna is to live. And I'm not going to run into all those things because I know that she's got a list over there, and I wouldn't dare steal her thunder.
Great, thanks.
That's all I have tonight.
Tim's not with us tonight, and we wish him a speedy recovery, and I'm sure he is home watching this tonight and taking notes.
Probably watch the Rifleman, Jerry.
It's not on right now.
Jerry is in mourning. That's right. Jerry's in mourning because the Rifleman has been taken off from his normal time.
That's right.
It's just
So,
changed, right?
yeah.
No, they took one.
So, Jerry.
Okay, I have one thing. I want to recognize my wife tonight. After 39 years of teaching first grade, today was her first day of retirement. Over those 39 years, she touched a lot of lives. I think HT and I were talking today, and probably over 800 at least went through her class. Mary Esther, I'm sure you as well, you know, being a teacher, everywhere you go, the kids come up to you, and we couldn't go anywhere, you know, without them coming up going, Miss Short, Miss Short. You know, I've been known as Miss Short's husband now for about 35 years, and in fact, when I was going to run for council, I almost put vote for Mrs. Short's husband. But anyway, she really did. She's touched a lot, and she's probably the first person I've seen cry on the day when she was going through retirement. So, but she. I do appreciate everything she did, and I know she touched a lot of lives. So that's all I got.
Congratulations, Patty. Job well done. Steve.
Not much, except for my wife will be celebrating her birthday, June 4th. I think she probably thinks I don't know or remember, but I do. I won't say how old she's going to be, except she is older than me. That's all I'll say.
That'll get you a lot of brownie points tonight.
Yes.
You've just become Pam's husband.
Hey, all I said is she's older than me.
I recommend you eat out.
We usually do. So we eat out even when they don't, so it's good. I won't talk about some of the events coming up. I am looking forward to the Top Gun run. I know a lot of us are going to be out there. I am not running. It should be Top Gun walk because I am going to walk. Brian did not agree to pull me in the wagon as I hoped, so I'm going to be walking. But I think it's going to be a good event.
Is there going to be a Top Gun golf cart out there? That's what I'm
Yeah, that'd be a good idea too.
No, but I know a shortcut.
We could get some wings, put some wings on it and everything. They'll also remind everybody about the farmers market that'll be starting up June 15th. So they're just a couple weeks out. I think those type of events are what those Saturday morning kind of events is what community and what the small town of Smyrna is really about. That's the feel we want. So if we want to keep that, we've got to actually support it. So I encourage you to go out, and a lot of folks go to the farmers market in Murfreesboro. If you want fresh vegetables, they have some very good choices at the Smyrna market. So we encourage you to come out and support that. That's it.
Thanks. Mark.
Brian, you touched on it very eloquently. Thank you for the Memorial Day announcement. I know that all of us, I think most of us, yes, we were all there and present and got to participate in that. Colonel Davidson had some really wonderful words that he expressed about those that we've lost along the way, and being from an Air Force family, I can appreciate that, and just want to say thank you to all those people that sacrificed their lives along the way, not only to them but their families, because their families have had to struggle through that, as you know personally. So
every year I have a standard prayer. I always pray that list never grows.
Yeah.
And even though it is something we definitely want to remember, the hope is that we never have to add to it.
And in addition to that, I want to thank Chief Bill and his color guard and some of the young men that were out there in that heat preparing for that event. They were standing quietly over in the shade, and I don't blame them. It was a hot day, but thank you, Chief, and thank you to the people that put that ceremony on, to you as well, the fire department. She's already touched on Mr. Hodge, and Lytle was a dear, dear man, especially to our police department, and we're going to miss him. He's not replaceable. He's just a classic gentleman, 98 years old. He lived a long life, and I went to school with Jenny, and I know Barry from a long time ago, so my condolences to their family. I had not heard about Cecil Lee, so my condolences to their family as well, and to the Gossetts, same thing. You know, Jerry touched on Patty's retirement, and I want to say thank you to Patty, and congratulations to Patty. How many years? 39 years as a school teacher. That's amazing to think that she's come through all the changes of the school system and survived that long in that system. My wife is involved with Smyrna Elementary School. I want to say thank you to her and for what she's got 25 years now, and she's been doing the same thing. So I don't have that gift, and it takes a gift. Mayor Reed has been a teacher. It takes a special gift to take the time to educate our students, to educate our children, and to really parent them through all the years that they come through, because that's what they do during the day with those children before they go home at night. And that's why so many people look up to you guys and thank you. We go to the Christmas parade, and Jerry, you hit it right on the money. When we go down throwing candy in the Christmas parade, everybody going, Miss Connie, Miss Connie, Miss Connie, you know. So I am Connie Adkins' husband, and when it comes to school students.
We all think that.
I know. And so you mentioned a birthday for Pam, June 4th. Connie's birthday is also June 4th, but however, Mr. Sullivan, she's younger than me. So I'm going to make sure I announce that as well, because she'll be pleased with that. I do want to say thank you to just teachers in general. They're getting their break right now, which isn't a very, very long break. It may seem like it when you're a student, or you know, a couple months off seems like a lot, but there's a lot of preparation after school and before school that they have to go back and do. And so thank you to all the teachers in our communities out there. You're doing a wonderful job. Mary Ann Rogers, I noticed, announcing her retirement from David Urey. So Mary Ann, if you watch us at all, she's been very involved in our Zama Sister City committee and program, and I want to congratulate her as well. So I think that's all I have.
I've already, for a lot of people, you may not realize my real job is I own a teacher supply store, and I will tell you, I already have teachers in planning for next year. They're attending workshops, in services, so there may be, quote, break. It's really never a break for teachers. I mean, they're constantly learning and preparing for those babies for next year. So I hope they do get to take a little bit of a breather before they get back. And you know that right after 4th of July, they're back in the classroom. So.
And you know, the school bus drivers like Cecil Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still doing summer events.
That's right.
Carting children around, and so this goes beyond the walls of the school. This goes to all the people that contribute to helping school operate.
That's right. It's a team effort. Couple of items. The Captain Jeff Cush USMC Memorial will host our inaugural Top Gun Run 6K tomorrow night, starting at 9 p.m. at Lee Victory Recreation Park. I will tell you that we are really excited. We sold out, about 2 weeks ago with 500 participants. So if you did not get registered this year, you will have an opportunity for next year, and I will recommend that you get signed up early. It is a 3.7 mile course that includes the Smyrna Rutherford County Airport and the golf course, and the finish line will be at the memorial. The one thing I want you all to understand, even if you're not participating in the run, it is going to be so much fun at the memorial, and there's going to be so many activities taking place. We've got a great band that's going to start at 8:30 and go till 11 o'clock. We've got food trucks. So even if you're not running the race, come out and be a part of this event. It's going to be very family friendly. We also recommend that you bring your blanket or your chairs so that you have somewhere to sit to watch the runners come across and to participate in listening to the band. I wanted to bring the trophy and let you see it, because I'll be taking this home as the female winner of the race. So I wanted to make sure you all got to see this.
You going to put it next to your golf trophy?
Yes, it's going right next to the golf trophy. And then this is the, let me see if I can, John, we good with that? This is our medal that each participant will be taking home, which I think looks pretty good. And then we also have the coin, which is right here in front, which we designed. And for those in the military, you know how important the challenge coins are. And so these will be going to the male and female winners in each division. So we think we've put together some really cool items for the run itself. And if you'd like to come by and look at but not touch my trophy, you are more than welcome to do that before at the end of the meeting. Next is our Simply Smyrna event, which is going to take place Saturday, June 1st from 6 to 10. Come out for some great family fun as Carpe Artista hosts the 2019 Simply Smyrna celebration. It'll be from 6 to 10. There'll be live music, stages, vendors, food, wine tasting, and a kids zone, and that will all take place on Front Street. Then the art crawl will be on Saturday, June 8th from 6 to 9 that Raquel was talking about. Free, family-friendly, and self-guided tour. Oh, art crawl, sorry.
No, you better let her talk about that because that's correct up there. Go ahead.
Correct. No, it's correct.
Okay.
He was questioning whether it was
okay,
correct.
okay. So that's talking about the call for the art that will go on tonight until midnight for the Depot Art Crawl. Good? Did I do good? Okay. Then the thing we've all been waiting for quite a few years now is the Great Tennessee Air Show is back here in Smyrna on June 8th and 9th, and our headliners this year will be the U.S. Navy Blue Angels. The 2019 tickets are available online only at thegreattennesseeairshow.com. I talked to John today, and he said Saturday is selling out quickly, so if you want tickets, I would recommend that you get on there and get them bought. And they will not be sold at the door, and the airport director, John Black, asked me to remind folks that the area is a no drone zone. So please remember that. Our Smyrna Food Trucks and Fun will be Friday, June 14th at the Smyrna Event Center from 5 to 9. There'll be games, music, and good food. Our Smyrna Boat Day, which is a free event, will be Saturday, June 22nd at Jefferson Springs. This is our 11th annual boat day from 9 to 11. There'll be canoes and kayaks, and paddles are provided free. If you want to have a boatload of fun while learning the importance of clean water, come join us from 9 until 1 at the Jefferson Springs Recreational Area. Follow the boat day signs as you drive east on Jefferson Pike. Academy Sports and Outdoors will give away 2 kayaks at this year's event, and Brian will be the first one in the water.
He's
yes.
going to teach ingress and egress into a kayak.
Yes.
And to clarify, it's 9 to 1.
Yes. Did I say something different?
You did.
Oh, thanks.
But that's okay.
Okay, good. Just a reminder, don't forget about, we're looking for members for the Smyrna Housing Authority to get involved in the community. If that's something you're interested in, you can apply online. Steve mentioned the Farmers Market, which will open Saturday, June 15th from 8 to 12. We encourage you to come out, and it will go through September 14th.
Talking about that, one of the reasons they don't open any earlier is because they're insistent that everything be local. And the local products are not really ready until that point.
Yep.
I think it's commendable on their part.
Council members, don't forget next Thursday we are doing the Rotary panel discussion. So any of you all that can be there, that would be appreciated. Excited about the air show. One thing I want to say about the air show, folks, remember, we have people from all over that are going to be coming in. Be patient. Traffic is probably going to be worse that weekend, but remember our Smyrna hospitality and our Southern hospitality. They're guests in our community, and we'd love for them to come back. So just be patient.
There'll be definite road closures, as always, for that. But what about for the Top Gun event tomorrow night?
The only road closure that we're going to be doing for the Top Gun event for Nolan Drive will be closed for from what to what?
Was it 30 minutes?
About, 9 to 9:30 roughly, and then the crossing of Nolan Drive at Threet Park and Sam Ridley will be closed probably for about 20 minutes while we get all the runners from the starting point across. Once that's completed, we'll open that road back up.
Yep.
But should be minimal traffic issues.
Right. Some things that have taken place since our last meeting, Mike and all the departments, job well done on the Greenway opening up at Jefferson Springs. I was actually out at Jefferson Springs this past weekend, and what a great addition to the town's Greenway system. So I know it's been a long time coming, but it took a lot of people to pull that off, and we appreciate that. Chief and Mike, Kids Safety Day, huge success. So thank you for that, and that partnership with Stonecrest Hospital. Sounds like it was the biggest one yet, probably. Great. Kevin, our comprehensive plan meeting that we had, nice to see that that's moving forward. We had quite a few people there, and I think we had a lot of feedback that the consultants are able to now take back and formulate some plans to bring back to us. So thanks for making sure that happened. And also wanted to wish Jenny and her family condolences on Mr. Hodge. Jenny was actually my cheerleading sponsor at Thurman Francis, and he will definitely be missed. I've seen so many things on Facebook that said they drive by his house and, you know, he's not sitting out there waving to people or taking a little siesta on the front porch. And so, but it's individuals like that who have made Smyrna what it is today and have laid that foundation for us to build on to continue to make Smyrna a great place to live, work, and play. So, anything else?
I just need to clarify. My wife texted me to tell me that she looks younger than me, although she is older than me. So I would like to agree with that. She is definitely looks younger. Yes.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
you are going to be in for it when you get home. If you don't already know that. Yeah, okay. If there is nothing else, we hope to see you all at one of the events we talked about tonight. So have a good, safe time between now and when we see you again. We are adjourned.
I know the band starts at 8:30.